3,000 years ago, in the Judean deserts, ancient rabbis discovered something that would forever change humanity's understanding of the divine. Something that was hidden, buried, whispered only among the highest sages. And that today, at this very moment, may be the answer you desperately seek. They discovered that when God is silent, it's not abandonment. It's a calling, a secret invitation, an invisible door opening to their greatest destiny. Do you feel it? That emptiness? That lack of response when you cry out? That spiritual desert where your prayers seem to echo in nothingness? What I am about to reveal will revolutionize everything you have been taught about this silence. Because within it lies the most powerful secret of the Torah, a secret that transformed slaves into a nation, that transformed shepherds into kings, that transformed emptiness into infinite abundance. And today, that ancient secret, that forgotten calling, will find you. But before I reveal that to you, let me ask you something from the bottom of your heart. What do you fear most when God is silent? Is it the fear of being abandoned, of not being worthy, of your prayers never being answered, of being alone on this journey, walking through an endless desert? This pain, I know it. And the answer you will receive today will heal this 3,000-year-old wound. If you feel this moment was meant for you, if something within your spirit is awakening now, subscribe to this channel. Join our community of seekers of ancient truth, because what comes next will change everything. Let me take you to Mount Sinai. Exodus 19. The people of Israel are at the foot of the mountain. Moses goes up, and then something mysterious happens. The Torah tells us, and the people kept silent, Vayetcheresham, and the people remained silent. But this Hebrew word, karashit, involves something much deeper than simply being silent. It means digging, engraving, sculpting, preparing the earth. The sages of Kabbalah reveal, when God introduces silence into your life, He is not ignoring you. He is excavation. It's inside you. It's peeling back layers. It's preparing the ground in your soul to receive something your noisy prayers could never reach. In Psalm 62:1, David writes, "But my soul was silent before God. Only in God does my soul find silence." He finds no peace. He finds no rest. He becomes silent, as if silence were an active action, a spiritual posture, a dimensional portal. And here is the secret whispered by the ancient rabbis. God's silence is not the absence of a response. It is the highest response there is. The beginning of the Torah, the desert as a womb. When the Israelites were freed from Egypt, God didn't lead them directly to the promised land. He led them into the desert, 40 years of silence, 40 years of apparent emptiness. Because the desert is the spiritual womb. It is where you die to who you were and are reborn into who you will be. It is where the noise of the world cannot reach you. It is where you are alone with the eternal, and with yourself. The Hebrew word for desert is Middelbar desert. It comes from the root cattle dabar, which means word or thing. The desert is where God speaks through silence, where His words don't arrive as sound, but as transformation. Are you in a desert right now? Do your prayers seem to go unanswered? Are your dreams delayed? Are your doors closed? Take a deep breath. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. God is sculpting something so great inside you that it needs silence to take shape. Kabbalah perspective, the 3 levels of silence. Kabbalistic masters teach that there are 3 levels of divine silence. Test of silence, Esther or Seder. God hides to see if you seek Him, even without immediate reward. It is silence that purifies your motivation. Do you love Him for what He gives, or for who He is? Silence of pregnancy. Herayon Ruchani. God is forming something within you. Like a baby in the womb, the most powerful work happens in the darkness, in the silence, in the unseen. You don't see anything happening, but everything is happening. Silence of elevation. Lich, Aliyah. God is elevating you to a level where human words can no longer reach. You are being promoted to a dimension where communication is direct, soul to soul, without intermediaries. What silence are you experiencing right now? Stop, feel, because in that answer lies the map to your next step. The hidden meaning, when God answers without speaking. There is an old story in the Talmud. A man asks Rabbi Akiva, "Why doesn't God answer my prayers?" Rabbi Akiva responds, "Because the answer you need cannot be contained in words. It needs to be lived." Do you understand what this means? Sometimes God doesn't answer your prayers because He is transforming you into the answer. Do you pray for prosperity? He doesn't send you money. He teaches you an abundance mindset, compels you to develop skills, and helps you rebuild your character. And when you become the person capable of holding the blessing appears. Do you pray for love? It doesn't send anyone to you. First, it heals your wounds, breaks your toxic patterns, and teaches you to love yourself. And when you become love, love finds you. Silence is not the absence of a response. Silence is your mold for carrying the answer. The practical spiritual step, the ritual of the call. Now comes the most important part. How do you respond to divine silence? The ancient rabbis practiced something called hitbodedut, HTBVDDVT, sacred isolation. They entered in silence intentionally. They did not wait for God to speak. First, they remained silent. Here is the ritual. 1. Find your desert, a place where you can be completely alone. No cell phone, no distractions, just you and the eternal. 2. Enter active silence. Don't pray with words, just feel. Feel your breath. Feel your heart. Feel the invisible presence that surrounds you. 3. Ask the sacred question. In silence, within your soul, ask yourself, what are you sculpting in me in this silence? 4. Wait without expectations. Don't force an answer. Just stay. Like a tree waiting for the rain. Like a field waiting for the seed. The answer will come. Not in words. In signs. In doors. In people. In opportunities. In internal transformations that you can't explain, but that you feel. The truth that sets you free. You already have the answer. And now the final secret of this revelation. You don't expect God to answer. You are the answer that God is preparing for the world. The silence you feel isn't about receiving something. It's about you becoming something. Someone is praying for a miracle that you will be. Someone is crying out for help that you will bring. Someone is in the desert waiting for the water that will flow through you. But for that to happen, you need to cross your own desert. You need to endure your own silence. You need to break down, empty yourself, sculpt yourself. Because in the end, you will no longer be who you were. You will be a channel of the eternal. The man who lost everything. There was a man in Tel Aviv, a successful businessman, a beautiful family. Everything seemed perfect, until in a single year he lost his company, his health, and almost lost his marriage. She prayed, she screamed, she cried. Silence. 2 years in the desert. 2 years where every door he knocked on was closed. Every opportunity that presented itself vanished. He thought about giving up. He thought God had abandoned him, but something began to change within her. In the enforced silence, she began to hear whispers she had never noticed before. She realized she had built her life on false foundations. Ego, appearance, status. The silence was destroying those foundations to build something eternal. Today, 3 years later, she has a smaller but more meaningful business. She helps people in crisis. Her marriage is stronger than ever. And she says, that silence wasn't a curse. It was the best gift God could have given me. It saved me from an empty life. The woman who couldn't have children. A woman in Jerusalem, married for 10 years. All treatments had failed. She prayed every day at the Western Wall. Silence. She saw other pregnant women and felt such a deep pain that she couldn't breathe. "Why does God ignore me?" she exclaimed. "What did I do to deserve this emptiness?" One day, in the midst of his despair, he met an orphaned girl, a 6-year-old girl who had lost her parents in an accident. Something inside him broke and awoke at the same time. She and her husband adopted the little girl, and then 2 more children. Today, they have a home filled with love, laughter, and purpose, and she finally understood. God did not deny me children. He was preparing me to be a mother to children who had no one. The silence was him aligning my heart with his. 2 years after the adoption, she became pregnant naturally. Today she has 4 children, but she says, if God had given me what I wanted when I wanted it, I would never have found my true calling. the family that almost self-destructed, a family in Sao Paulo, a workaholic father, a mother mired in depression, a 14-year-old son who was starting to wander the streets. They kept going to the synagogue, but it was only for show. The father prayed, "God, bless my business." Silence. The mother prayed, "God, take away my pain." Silence. The son didn't even pray anymore. He had given up. Until his father's business failed completely. They lost their enormous house. They had to move to a small apartment. No luxuries, no distractions, just them, and the deafening silence. And in that small apartment, something miraculous happened. With no money for entertainment, they began to have dinner together, to talk, to cry together, to see each other for the first time in years. Dad realized he was chasing money and losing his family. Mom realized she was waiting for external happiness when healing needed to come from within. The son finally felt he had parents, not just providers.
Today, 3 years later, they have a modest but stable business. The mother found purpose helping other women with depression. The son is studying at university and volunteers with at-risk youth. And the father says, "That silence of God was him telling me, stop asking me for things. I want to give you something greater. I want to return you to your family." What if I'm not strong enough to endure the silence? Listen carefully. God never leads you into a desert you can't cross. Never. The mere fact of being silent means you have the strength to endure it. The desert doesn't break you. It reveals how strong you already are. Every day you survive is proof that there's something divine inside you that sustains you. You are not alone. You never were. What if the silence means that God is angry with me? This is an old lie that has destroyed souls for generations. God's silence is never anger. It is a love so profound that it needs silence to operate. When a parent yells at their child, it's a reaction. When a parent remains silent, breathing, carefully considering the best way to guide that soul, that is mature love. God is not angry with you. He is a perfect father. He is working something so powerful in your life that it requires your full attention, not your desperate pleas. What if I waste my time waiting and nothing happens? That's impossible, because in the desert, everything happens. You may not see it, but your roots deepen. Your character is forged. Your faith is tested. The strongest trees grow in the most violent winds. Diamonds are formed under extreme pressure, and prophets are forged in the desert. You're not wasting your time. You're preparing to bear something that will destroy your past. Time in the desert is never wasted. It's invested in your eternal destiny. Now I'm going to give you something that only the oldest rabbis knew. A secret within a secret. There is a concept in Kabbalah called Tzimtzum, TSM, the divine contraction. The idea that God needed to retract to create empty space so that the universe could exist. Think about it. God, who is infinite, who fills everything, had to create silence, emptiness, absence, so that something new could be born. Now apply this to your life. When God withdraws from your life, when He creates silence, He is giving you space to become. If He filled every moment with His voice, with His obvious presence, with instant answers, you would never develop your own voice. You would never discover your own strength. You would be an echo, not a creator. Silence is the greatest gift a creator can give to a creature he wants to transform into a co-creator. So, when you feel the emptiness, ask yourself, who am I called to be in this space that God has given me? This is the question that changes everything. Here is your sacred challenge. For 30 days, intentionally enter into silence. 10 minutes each day. No words, no music, no sound. Just you and the eternal. Don't ask for anything. Don't pray with words. Just be. Sit down, breathe. Feel the silence around you and within you, and in the midst of that silence, observe what emerges. Thoughts, emotions, perceptions, truths that were buried beneath the noise of your life. Write them down, because they are the whispers of God, not in audible words, but in the wisdom that springs from your own soul, illuminated by Him. In 30 days, you will no longer be who you are today. You will have crossed your desert, and on the other side lies your promised land. Now, to conclude, let me bless you with the words of the ancients. May the silence that frightens you today become the womb where your greatest destiny is formed.
May the desert that hurts you today reveal itself as the sacred path that will lead you home. May every unanswered prayer be planted like a seed that will germinate in God's perfect season. Have the courage to persevere when everything tells you to give up. May you have the faith to trust when there is no visible evidence. May you have the wisdom to see that silence is not abandonment, but the most intimate embrace of the eternal, preparing you to bring light to the world. And when you come out of your desert, and you will emerge, you will no longer be a beggar crying out for blessings, but a channel through which rivers of life will flow to the thirsty ones around you. You are loved, you are chosen, and you are exactly where you need to be. Shalom. May the peace of the eternal, deeper than any understanding, keep your heart in sacred silence.